Imagine a place where the boundaries of age, industry, background, and culture melt away, replaced by a shared desire to explore the depths of our collective experiences here on the open, shaded porch. Amidst an atmosphere of serenity and tranquility, leaders from all walks of life gather to share their stories, the stories that shape their very beings and doings. This is the Knowledge Mindfulness Porch with Laila Marouf.
Joining me on the porch is Nabil Habayeb, a retired president and a CEO of GE International Markets, and a GE Senior Vice President who consistently ranked as a top executive by Forbes Middle East. A 41-year veteran of GE who is passionate about access to healthcare, education, and women's empowerment. Nabil, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Laila. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor having you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, Nabil. First of all, I'd love to congratulate you on 41-year journey with GE. Before we talk about this, I just want to start with your own words. You said this journey has been all about the people. Can you please let us know what do you mean by that?
You know, this whole journey has a lot of other experiences, but when I was reflecting on my 41 years with the company, the only company I worked for, to see what really topped the list, it's the learning that I felt from, what really made a difference in my career, starting as a field engineer, building a power plant in Baghdad in 1982 to becoming the senior vice president and CEO of GE International. I never really expected that I would be where I am at, having just graduated and started as a field engineer in Iraq to get to where I was. And I think the thing that really mattered to me, really at the end of the day, were people. So, when we think about the people, think about the relationships that I built or how I used to interact with the people, whether they're internal to GE or external to GE, our customers, our partners, our stakeholders. And I think the key thing that really mattered in that relationship is that authentic relationship really matters. Really how one embodies the person and embracing the whole person and not just the role that they hold. It helped me tremendously because there were times when I used to go visit sites and do maintenance on a power plant and so on. The field engineer of that site was also starting his or her career in that customer organization, and they grew as well. And there were couple of instances of, some of these people became ministers as well. And we stayed there with the relationship. So it wasn't because I had a relationship because he was a maintenance manager or plant manager that, okay, once I finished my assignment, we lost the relationship. It's how you build up that relationship with the person individually and how you help them. And the same thing goes internally. When you try to mentor and help and grow the career of people individually within the organization, how you embrace that person and help them with their career. That some of them became CEOs of organizations, whether it was in GE or outside GE. So the first thing was, authentic relationship. It's not about my own individual interest in that person. It's about how you develop that relationship with the individuals that really matter. When I said that there are some people that became CEOs of organizations, that gives me a lot of pride. And it helped me grow technically, operationally as a leader. And it's all about making sure that the learning that I get from these relationships and passing on these learnings and having that individual grow as well, that gives me pleasure. And that's the joy in helping people also grow in their career. The other thing that really matters is the diversity of the people. What a diverse team can do and create together. And when I talk about diversity, I'm not only talking about gender diversity. There are people from all around the world that come with different thoughts. There are people that come from different backgrounds. When there is a meritocracy in the organization and create a meritocracy in the organization, and you help individuals grow themselves, and having this kind of a diverse team of people from different backgrounds, from different culture, from different geography, from different genders, it helps create an innovative organization, an organization that brings in the views of different people, and that helps us grow to where we are at. I'll just give you a quick example. When we were trying to drive localization plan or having more female on my leadership team, I had a local Emirati person be my reverse mentor to help me, what does it take to help grow a local Emirati person in the organization to become, and she did become, the CEO of GE for the UAE and for the Gulf. So having this diverse organization and create the environment for a meritocracy in a diverse organization. Really. And the last thing that I would say about the people is when you surround yourself with people that share the same values, particularly around integrity and compliance. There are people that come from different backgrounds, but when it comes to how you conduct business, how you treat people, there's the same common values that have to be created. And when you surround yourself with that organization, and this is what I felt at GE. In GE, we felt, we've had a culture of compliance, a culture of around integrity, a culture of creating diversity, of embracing one another. And that's what really helped me throughout the 41 years when I said what I said about people.
Oh my God, these are really great words of wisdom, Nabil. I mean, really. But I just need to go back and reflect on every single point you mentioned, because I think this could be a great opportunity for our younger leaders today to take so much of the learnings of what you got in this experience and try to modify it to the world we're living in. As you know, Nabil, the world we're living in now is so different from the last 41 years of your journey at GE. What I mean by that, let's start with the first point you mentioned. You said building relationships. I just want to kind of tap into your thinking about this. In the changing world we're living in right now, spending 41 years in one organization is kind of unthinkable right now in many ways. We see not even younger, we're talking about even middle-aged managers, CEOs, whose tenures are shrinking in time. And they're jumping from one profession to another, from one organization to another. So going back to your first point of building relationships, how can we do that when we are not spending enough time to build those relationships that are necessary, as you said, in so many ways to innovate, to bring out the best in a company, to bring out the best in people? How do we do that in today's fast-changing world?
It is different and it is challenging. And I have 4 children. They're all working and they're all different. And they all, one is an entrepreneur, one is a, hardcore engineer focusing on continuous improvement and process improvement. One is a clinical psychologist that wants to address and find solutions for autism and autistic kids and how they help that. And one is a pediatric physician that is passionate about caring for babies. And I take a look at my children. Yes, they are all different, but I think there's one thing that's always common among all of them. And And I'll come back to the point that I'm going to say around this, that I think what matters is that, some of them are changing their jobs and different things and meeting with different people and have different ambitions. But what really focuses at the end of the day in keeping the relationship, in building the relationship, is the difference that you're trying to do in the role that you're in. If you're changing jobs just for the sake of following the money, you can do that. But what is the difference that you are keeping behind the job that you have left? Is there a name that you are keeping behind, whether it is what you have achieved and people will remember you for that, or whether it is the difference that you have made in other people's life that help you build up the relationships that will stay for a long period of time, that people will still remember you for. My advice to the young generation that, will not stay for 41 years and will continue to change is, before you make a move, or as you think about making a move, think about, what difference have you made in your current role? Whether it is for the people or to the organization or to the community or to the role or to yourself. And how are you able to build up the relationships off of the differences that you have made?
I love that. I think that's very insightful.
I think the same thing happens whether you stay there for a few years or whether you stay there for 41 years. When I talked about the skilled engineer of the power plant that became a minister, the difference that we have made in the relationship that we have built with each other. And that relationship was deep and strong, that stayed for a long period of time for us to remember each other as we grew and to continue to be friends.
If I hear you correctly, what we're looking at here, even expanding our relationships to different contexts. So if we build that relationship in a way that is impactful, with good reputation, with a really purposeful impact, as you're saying, then we can take that relationship not even within the boundaries of one organization, but within even our lifespan, which is even amazing. That's what I hear from you.
He's much better than me.
No, but I love it. I love it. Again, these are words of wisdom, really, Nabil. But I want to look at the other side of the coin here. If we look at the organizations in terms of how will they retain talent? How can they attract talent and retain? Because as we know, in an organization, you invest in people, money, time, effort, a lot of that. So as an organization, how can you really retain the talent that you have invested in?
First of all, you have to create a purpose for the organization. What's the purpose of the organization? Why? Otherwise, why would anybody come? I mean, if it's just for the money, you're not going to be able to retain the talent. But there has to be a reason for the person to get up in the morning and drive to work and be excited about being in the job. So first of all is creating a purpose for the organization. Once you create the purpose of the organization, then you have to make sure that you create the right roles that fit that purpose. And once you have the right structure that, you don't have extend a structure that, creates duplication and confusion and unnecessary, unhealthy competition. But, when you build the right organization structure, when you recruit the individual that has the right skills to fit in that box in the organization structure, explaining to them, how they fit in the overall purpose of the organization and how what they do matters not only to them and their growth, but to the whole team, and creating that whole organization. So that's the most important thing, I think, is to creating a purpose, to be able to attract people that know exactly what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be doing it, and what their role impacts the overall organization. That also helps getting that individuals to know how are they going to be measured, how are they going to, when they know what they have to do, how are they going to be measured, and having regular discussion with that person to give them feedback about their progress. Are they doing the good job? Are they not doing the good job, or whatever? And that gives that individual the feeling that you really care about their success, that you put them in the job that fits them best, or you think you put them in the job that fits them best, and help them grow, and you want them to succeed and to grow the organization. And to do that, sometimes you have to set the targets or set the metrics and set the roles and set the objectives and let them run on their own. Let them go. Let them feel free. Let them be creative. Let them show their capability. And let them be empowered to do the role that they want to do. But at the same time, you need to keep an eye and make sure that they're making the progress, both from organization targets, but also from being able to help the individual. So my philosophy has always been, I'm going to tell you what is required. I would like you to develop the roadmap for how you're going to get there. I will help you shape that roadmap if you need help. When we have our regular reviews, give me an update on your roadmap. If you need my help, great. If you don't need my help, great, as long as you deliver what you say you're going to do. And if you say you don't need my help and you don't deliver, the next time we're going to have a different discussion. And when we have this different discussion the first time and it happens again the second time, then the discussion is going to be, well, are you not able to do what needs to be done? And if not, is it because of skill sets that we have to help you get trained on? Or is it because you really fit in a different role that we can put you in? Or is it because we made the wrong choice and you're probably better off going somewhere else to do it? But when I interview people and I recruit people, I tell them all of this up front. And I tell them that this is the open discussion we're going to have. This is the expectation. And also that I want the same open discussion. Where you can tell me anything you want as long as it is constructive. And I'll do everything. I'll tell you everything you want that you need to hear as long as it's constructive. So this feeling of a purpose and where they fit and making sure that you're following to make sure that they achieve it. And you invest into the development if they need the development, and reward them when they feel that they are rewarded. And, keeping them excited about their career and giving them advice that, hey, maybe I can help you find a better job, whether it's internally or externally. I think gets the sense of people to say, I have potential for growth here. And that's the best way to retain them. Of course, some are more interested in the financial side. That's fine. But I can tell you that the involuntary exits that we had from a retention point of view was no more than 2% of the organization at any time.
I think that reflects, in my opinion, in the lens of knowledge mindfulness, it reflects wisdom in your leadership. What I saw through all the words you were saying now is that dichotomy, you ruptured the dichotomy between being firm and being flexible, being caring, yet being accountable. All these, I think, gives me so much that feeling of how important it is to have wise leadership now, who have a good judgment of when to be firm and when to be flexible, when to be caring and when to be nurturing. So it's really more about good judgment right now, because like we were talking about, it's a fast changing world. So even this hierarchical, structure could be excellent at times, but other times we need more organic structure. So it's all about that tango between these two dichotomies. And I think through the lens of knowledge mindfulness, this is what knowledge mindfulness is advocating for: more wisdom, more good judgment in when and what to use at what times and with whom. So, that's a higher knowledge maturity, Nabil, that you have reflected so greatly in your journey at GE. But that brings me to the second point you talked about, the diversity and the importance of the diversity of people. And I think in today's world, we talk a lot about the diversity in the workplace, but at the same time, we have so much of fragmentation between age groups, between cultures, between backgrounds, between my way or the highway, me versus you. All these fragmentations that we're seeing, how can we overcome it? Because we know for sure that different perspectives is what we need to solve complex problems, the complexity of the problems we're having today. We know that, but yet we cannot reach that re-feeling, but with which you have reached in many ways at your journey in GE. Because what you are describing, I could see and hear this picture, a lovely picture of the we feeling of community, that you are surrounded with, yes, different cultures, different age groups, yet you're all feeling you're part of one family. Because as you said, maybe that vision that you have kind of, the common purpose that all of you are working towards. But how can we build that unity in a world that is so fragmented right now?
It's not easy. I think one of the biggest challenges, I think, of the career was trying to create this whole culture in the organization that I spoke about, and also making sure that you recruit the people that can fit this culture. And fitting a culture, yeah, maybe sometimes you can adapt to it, but it's the DNA that you're looking for in an individual that can fit this culture despite all of the things that you have mentioned to it. You cannot change the DNA. Either you have it's in you or not. And I think when we look at recruiting people and making them part of the team, we were looking for three really main things that really matter for us to help create the culture and create this community. It's actually more of a family. And these three things is humbleness. 2 is transparency. And 3 is focus. You need humbleness regardless of the hierarchy. Not me, my way or the highway. Yeah, maybe you know better, a lot more than me. I'm going to be open and I'm going to listen to you and have the humbleness to be able to listen to different views and accept everybody's different views before you make your decisions or whatever. And how you just communicate with people as well. Whether you're the CEO or whether you're the person on the factory floor, you learn a lot more from the person on the factory floor than you would hear about really what's going on, for instance, than having few layers in between that could tell you what's going on. So as a leader, are you humble enough to really get down and walk down the factory floor, for instance, and talk to the people and learn from them and being able to do that among. The second thing I would say is transparency. There's no hidden agenda. There should be no hidden agenda. And it's creating that relationship between each other that will build up the trust as well. To me, the number one bond in this community, in this whole family, is trust. And, you have to create that environment of humbleness and transparency to get to the trust. And the third thing is creating focus. We're focused on the purpose. Here's the purpose. This is your role. This is why your role is so important, that helps us get to where we want to do. Are you in it? Are you part of this team, or are you not part of this team? Are you part of this family that wants to achieve this objective? And are you going to be doing everything that you're going to do without being distracted and so on into what you need to focus on getting the job? So I think if you focus on these three things, it creates this sense of community regardless of the backgrounds and diversities and everything. You're humble to listen to whoever comes from whatever country, from whatever background. from whatever role, from whatever organization. You're going to be open and transparent with everybody. There's no hidden agenda. You're going to create the trust, and you're going to be focused, all of us, on doing the things that we need to do to achieve our objective.
These are really, really great points. I call it in the knowledge mindfulness arena, the intelligent people trap. The big egos, sometimes they are so big that they kind of block everything for coming in and going out. And that's a problem. And that's why they get stuck. Intelligent people can really get stuck because they think they know it all. And the more we know that we don't know. So that is kind of the dilemma. There's one point I would like to add to these 3 points, Nabil, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were talking about the DNA. I call it spiritual DNA because these are human values, universal human values that we look for maybe in hiring nowadays. And one of them is maybe generosity. Being generous, not only in money, being generous in your giving your time, giving your energy, giving so much for other people's growth as much as yours, because these are interconnected. We are all interconnected. So that kind of interdependency, the more I give, if I really can understand this, the more you give, the more you take. And that interdependency, that interconnection, and that flow, I think that many people miss in this equation in so many ways. So this is where I thought about maybe adding the generosity part in the DNA when we kind of hire. Is there a tendency for people to be givers, not only takers? So yes, I'm sure, this is. But going back to the diversity of cultures, I'm very curious about one point, because I know you have so much worked across different cultures from Latin America, Middle East, Russia, China, Central Asia. What stands out in these cultures that you think we can learn from?
That's difficult to really answer because, there are different ways of doing. I think everybody, what stands out, if I look at the common thing among all, everybody wants to improve the lives of themselves, of their communities, of their people, their country. Everybody is proud of where they come from. And this sense of pride and commitment to, making a difference in their community and for their community and for their country. I think that's common, and that's what stands out among everybody. Is the sense that I got. When we first tried to grow GE in the Middle East, we were less than 900 people and we were doing less than $1 billion. A lot of people within the GE community and from the partners, investors, and stakeholders that matter to GE were used to say, "Oh, why would you want to go to the Middle East? It's high risk. They don't buy the latest technology. It's low margin products. They are the low margin products and so on. The perception of women, not in leadership position and all of that." And I took this job. And at that time, our chairman and CEO said, "Well, how are you going to do it?" I said, "I'm going to do it differently to grow the region. I'm going to do it differently to what you think or what people think that the Middle East is all about," and so on. Anyway, long story short, we grew to be the largest region. We grew to 15,000 people. 90% of them are from Middle East and Africa. Leadership in Middle East and Africa, 60% of the population, 60% of our leadership team were women from within the region. We had the highest margins. They set technologies to the latest. And as I think about what made that difference, it's the fact that people across Middle East and Africa knew perceptions were wrong, wanted to make a difference and show, the pride. And then when I took the international role and started applying the same thing, what we did in the Middle East to the rest of the world, it's the same sense of pride. It's the same sense of pride that people want to make a difference in life. And that's, I think, what is to their families, to their communities, to the world. I think that was the comment.
That is really wow. You know why, for me, now listening to this, that means that all people have the potential they have also that eagerness to change. But if you kind of provide the right environment for them, then you are helping that potential to come out and grow. Am I hearing you correct?
I think you've been summarizing what I've been saying extremely well.
It's just that you have so much knowledge and experience to share. Through your words, I can sense how much wisdom there is for younger generations to learn and apply in their own lives. I want to explore how you will continue imparting that wisdom in the next chapter of your life. But we'll have to stop here for now. Coming up next time, Nabil Habayeb will share some advice that his father gave him 40 years ago, which still resonates today.
On the first day that I started the job, my father came to me and he said, I have two pieces of advice for you. Keep your name clean and make a difference. He said, when you leave this world, the only thing that people will remember you with is the difference you've made. And the only thing that you take away with you is your name.
You have been listening to the Knowledge Mindfulness Porch with Laila Marouf. If you want to join the movement of knowledge mindfulness and shape the world of tomorrow, go to drlailamarouf.com. The Knowledge Mindfulness Porch is a production of Forbes Books.